Okay guys, Michael Joseph Murphy, the Jacksonville Piano Man here. I've had a number of questions on how to write a full-length song, so this is not going to be one of the quick videos. Also, discretion, this is really for advanced students. I'd suggest black note first degree and above, maybe even black note second degree and above. Today I'm just going to start off though with a song, so that should be at least easier than doing some major composition. So, I wrote a song around, I think, 2022 called Jacksonville, and I decided that I wanted to make a folk song that had nothing to do with the real history of Jacksonville, one that'd be fun for kids. So wrote the song Jacksonville, and this is basically step-by-step of how I went through and was able to get it done. First thing I did was I tried to come up with a melody. So all you do is you sit at the piano. That's what I recommend unless you're a guitar player, but it's usually pretty easy on a piano because it's so linear. And you doodah around trying to find some kind of melody, okay? So I tend to really like the key of D minor. It also fits my voice well, so I actually started in that key. Now, doesn't matter if you don't necessarily sing in a key, you can start in whatever key that you like to write in and always then move it to a key that either you can sing in or somebody else can sing in. So we can always move that key. But I started off in D minor, all right? Now, again, I'm going to go pretty fast. So hopefully you guys are higher enough degrees to understand this. But D minor is a relative of F sharp major. And I went to, of course, the minor. And I wanted to go back and forth between the two. I wanted to write a song about a pirate. So I know that pirate music is Caribbean sounding. And cliche Caribbean would be a reggae feel. So I said I'm going to go to D minor. And I'm going to give myself this D minor upbeat kind of reggae sound. So I had that feel, and all of a sudden I was like, you know, if I wrote down just a quick little melody of, that's nice and easy. All I did was play the broken chord. Then I decided to go and bring it down, just on a willy-nilly, back to a C chord. And right back to a D minor. Right there, that is a basic idea. And if you remember from other videos, you come up with a basic idea, develop the idea. And at the end of a phrase, if you got nothing else, bring it to a cadence. All right? But that's my basic idea and my development. Works enough. Now I fragment, go somewhere different. So I decided to keep it in that minor, dark pirate kind of sound. I didn't want it to sound like a happy pirate in a major. I want that dark minor kind of sound, like a sea shanty. So then I went to my number 4 chord in D minor, which is G minor. Back to the 1 chord. Back to the C major. I need a cadenza. I need to bring it to a cadence and bring it to the end of the phrase. So I decided to go to a B flat here. And of course, an authentic cadence is a 5-1. So I'm going to A major. And because I had that A major, anybody who knows their stuff knows I am in D harmonic minor. So I'm going to be using my 1 chord is D minor, my G minor, which is 4, my 5 chord, which is A major, and I'm coming back to 1. Right there, I had my own little, I was like, you know what, that sounds like a pretty easy little catchy tune. And it's built like a pop song, really not too many jazz undertones or anything, nice voicings, anything like that. A very basic, simple kind of folk song. But what I did try to do is make sure that I had this back and forth between the D minor and the C, and then I had those 4 chords and the 5 chords and back to D minor. That's it. Then I started to write up some lyrics, and of course, I'll go into that a little bit later. But after I had enough lyrics for telling the story, like most folk songs, I had to come to a chorus. And so I decided, you know what, now I want to give it this kind of uplifting sound, because I wanted the story to be about Jacksonville, who is like this dark kind of pirate, but then I wanted it to be something that, how could a pirate ever be lifted up? How could somebody who's been evil and wicked then be redeemed? And so then I wanted this major sound, because I wanted it near the end to have this positive, hey, we're proud of Jacksonville, the city, and we're proud of Jacksonville, the pirate. So you want this kind of major sound, but also not all major where it sounds like Barney or something. I wanted that epic sound, which means And most music has it nowadays, where you go and put some minors and some majors in together, okay? So I then decided to flip on over to the key of F, and I started on a 4 chord, B flat, to a 1 chord, to a 2 chord, there's my minor to keep it serious still, back to the 6, which is D minor. Do it again, restate or develop. Now I decided, you know what, I want to get out of this key a little bit, so I went to a flat 7. And again, you have to know your advanced stuff, but going to a flat 7 actually brings me almost to like a Mixolydian mode. So I was like, yeah, there we go. That's not cool, like almost rock sound, but I went to the flat 7. Back to the 1, and I'm back on the 4. At 2, there's that flat 7 again. Now I need to cadence. I want to get back into the D minor, so I got to get to an A major. So I went up to the 4 chord, and I know right there, if I can hit myself a dominant of G minor, I'm back into G minor, and that's totally not where I want to go. I want to be into D minor. So it brought me back to number 2 chord of F, but I want to get back to D minor, so I go to the dominant of D minor, which is that A7 again. Hear that? And it sets me back up for the D minor. So again, the chorus. All right, that was the verse. Now the chorus. Rinse and repeat that all over and over again. I thought to myself too, should I go ahead and put in a bridge? And honestly, when I started writing the lyrics, it got so long, it was like American Pie. I was like, I better not throw a bridge there. And if you notice, American Pie doesn't have a bridge either. So I wrote it very much in the folk style of like an American Pie kind of feel. I used a reggae, that reggae kind of sound, and then also I had to start recording, okay? So you can use whatever recording apps you use. I use this one from all the way from 2002. It's Sequoia. They're basically almost all the same. A lot of the newer ones have cool bells and whistles and things to make it easier, but I'm on a computer from 2002 and I still use it. So one of the things you do whenever you record then is to layer yourself up, is to lay down a backtrack. That can just be a click track, or it can also just go and be a drum, like a pre-recorded drum, or you can make your own drums. So I laid down this little track and I knew I wanted an intro. See if I can make this a little bit louder here. There we go. Just laid a backtrack. Now when I tried to play the song to it, now I can always, this is just a backtrack. I could erase the whole thing and put down a new drum once I layer piece after piece onto the tracks. Okay? So I laid down the drum track first, okay? Then I laid down a piano backtrack that played along with the melody, just that way at least I had something. It's like a background of a painting, just the dark images, just in the background that you're actually gonna paint over. You're not even gonna see this stuff, but it's there to start building this piece, okay? And then what I did was I said, all right, after I had the drums down and I just had the piano, which kind of played the melody and the rhythm, I now wanted to start laying on pieces that are actually going to stand out. And one of the first ones I typically go to is a bass. So, of course, I went to a bass, picked up the bass guitar, but just for right now, I'll just show you guys using right here. One of the things you can do, also if you don't play bass, is just use the keyboard. So you can select a bass sound, and you can just go grab yourself your notes. Boy, that's really hot. Let's see. There we go. So, of course, bass sound, you can play it either with your right hand or your left hand. I actually have another keyboard up here that actually helps. So that way, if I want to go and play, I'm not making actually any noise, but because of my body and the way it's balanced, I'm able to then play the melody, and kind of even you can then make up your own left hand bass. So if you go, laid down then the bass track. And then, of course, when you have those two tracks together, all of a sudden we have ourselves our backtrack. Still pretty much, I was like, you know what? I added a little bit of drums onto this track too eventually, but really, for the most part, you usually can stick with what you have. If you listen to things like Blinding Lights and all, man, they're using drum machines from like the 80s. That's why it all sounds that 80s just kick snare kind of feel. People are just using electronic drums a lot. If you're blessed enough to have a drummer that, you know, is with you or able to record you, awesome. But for the most part, just writing quick songs, use electronic drums. All right, next thing after I had that was, of course, I need to go and create that reggae feel, so I decided to go and use a guitar. I went and just grabbed my acoustic and just pulled some up strums, but if you just have on your own keyboard and you grab some digital guitar sound, some kind of electric, I don't know. That's a little too nylon-y, I don't know. We'll go to a steel here. So, of course, knowing that and listening to your backtrack, constantly hitting an upbeat and then layering on that guitar. Let's see here. I'm sorry, you know what I actually realized too I did this? I just played down I just grabbed a muted sound to create that kind of wop wop kind of sound. We're going to make it sound more reggae. So I didn't even use an actual guitar track on this. Right? Now the next thing I knew I wanted was to make it sound even more of a sea shanty. And here's what I did. I think I used this for the upbeats. Accordion music. Harmonicas and accordions tend to sound very sea shanty-ish. So, and this I did. I don't play an accordion, and I don't have one. So I went on down and just grabbed myself my own little accordion kind of sound. So layered then the accordion track on top of the... There we went. Now all of a sudden that sounds very, very sea shanty-ish. Accordion, muted jazz guitar, bass guitar, and some drums. Now to make music sound even a little more sea shanty-ish, I decided to throw in a banjo, okay? I wanted that tinniness of almost like, it's a folk song anyway, so almost that Appalachian tell a story kind of sound. I threw in a banjo track. Now this actually almost acts as an underlying counter or motif. See, it's constantly back there saying something against the rhythm. All right. After that, I decided to throw in things like extra auxiliary percussion, which right here sounds like so. Shakers, wooden blocks, anything to just add a little bit more rhythm so that way it's even more danceable. So that way you're eventually, even if you do things live, your trap set player is not having to do a bunch of extra stuff. So an auxiliary percussionist helps a lot. All right. All right, next thing, all right. As I was building this up, I really wanted the sound of like that deep kind of pirate sound. So I threw in some low singers. This, again, if you got a keyboard that can do it, and a lot of the newer keyboards have way better tracks than these old things, but that low vocal sound of people singing down there where it's lower. Let's see here, grab like a... So that sound right there, I decided I wanted to bring in, especially whenever you give it that dark Jacksonville pirate kind of sound. So I then added it to the mix right here. And I started off with it as just following the chords, trying to find some harmonies that basically fit. Next thing I did was decide to go and throw in some ocean kind of sounds and some seagulls. So I actually went out and sampled stuff at the beach, was able to even find some seagulls, and sure enough, right here's my oceans and my seagulls. So now, you actually put that in then with the rest of the song. Hear myself sing, okay? Next thing was to give it that extra backbeat kind of sound, but something that sounds heavy and warlike. I threw in these heavy bass drums. One of those things that layer by layer that I had to mix things. So this took a while to also mix and get the right volume levels in as well. I added then, of course, things like even flutes later on. Let's see here. I added things like a motion pad. That sounds like a ship's bell. Then I went in and decided to add just some extra little cymbals. And sure enough, the song was written. There is no piano in this song, apparently. Final thing I did was go ahead and throw in my voice singing. Originally, I sang it in a natural voice, but as the kids and I were having some fun, I decided to throw on a pirate voice. Unfortunately, it sounds a bit like a SpongeBob SquarePants kind of singing pirate, but at least it sounds piratey enough for a folky kitty song.
Out on the briny deep was a captain at the keep. All the plunder and the treasure he could take. Possessions was the goal, though it costed him his soul. The hole in his heart grew bigger every year.
And that is the way to go ahead and just kind of write down a song. But you have to know those basic fundamental steps in order to be able to start to get a song put down. I'll go and show you guys how to do orchestral music next time. Hope this helped. Comment and ask your questions, and I'll answer them as best I can. Thank you.